Wow, we are live. Hello, beautiful family in the light, from the light, going back to the light. So much love to all of you. So much love. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy Friday, tea time Ascension at our new time at 4 o'clock. Wishing you all a beautiful...
Right at 4:04 p.m.
4:04. Wishing you all a beautiful, happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year as we've dived right into some beautiful energy. So thank you for all being here.
And so much. So we have a new background here. We are trying to figure out a new background here because our living room is now still has the pyramid, the Tachyon pyramid in it. We have not moved it since the New Year. So we're just trying to find a new place. And this is the background we chose for now. And happy anniversary to me. Happy rebirth to me. 9-year anniversary. So thank you so much for joining me on this 9-year celebration. I'm so grateful to be with all of you, starting this Venus Christed Crystalline Friday with you. So welcome, Lisa. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you for joining at 4. Thank you for being with us, honey, in this 9 years of welcome back to this world after going to the other side and coming back. What a gift.
Thank you. I've been in this world since then, Michael.
Yeah.
So it's not like I've gone anywhere else. I've been here. And welcome, welcome. Let's see what tea you're drinking. You like, Valerie, you like the new time. Thank you so much. We do too. We do as well. We definitely we've really shifted everything. Just about all of our live streams are going to be now at 4 p.m. That seems to work so much better. We can just really relax back. And so, Michael, let's turn this light on. Let's just see if the lighting is a little bit right. Give us a minute while we're adjusting that. We have our other light here, and we're seeing if
that does open up.
That does open up. Why not? Let's have it on.
That looks much
okay,
better.
Hi, Caitlin.
Good to see you, Caitlin.
Hi, PJ. Hi, PJ. Sending so much love to PJ as well. So expending a lot of love to all of you. So Valerie's having Egyptian liquid tea. Thank you so much. Rose hip tea with hibiscus. Thank you. What are we having today, Michael?
We're having this beautiful tea called Balance. It is our peppermint, chamomile, blackberry, cinnamon bark, ginger pieces, rose petal, licorice root, and marigold flower petals, all for the good balance. If you guys want to see it, it's a beautiful brand, organic brand from one of my mom's actually Qigong classmates that she's been taking online with my uncle who teaches Qigong. So this is a brand that it's really nice because it has it's cute because it actually has the little, you can see the herbs right here in the package. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Feeling rested and feeling better from the other night. Thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. Always good to see you both and see all of you shining faces here today on this Friday, on this 8th of January. Gosh, I feel like the time is moving so quickly now. How amazing it is to see how quickly the first week just seems like it flew by. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but it's just amazing how time is just shifting and frequencies are moving all over. So how are you guys doing? How is this new year starting out for you? How are you feeling? How are these intensities of energy moving through of all that we're experiencing? We'd love to hear from all of you guys.
Thank you also, Caitlin, for enjoying this new timeline. And I feel this is a better background now. So just for Caitlin and Lisa have been here, they know this is our small little dining area, and that's what's in the back, which I will be painting it in white sometime soon. But we have various. And Michael, do you want to move over for a second so we can give a little look behind the scene here? So that's a little family stuff, Egyptian things, just a whole bunch of things here. And then this is I'm going to show this to you. This is the new gift for the altar. It is a chalice cup, and it is the celebration dedicated to the New Year's Eve and it has the water still, the flower from the New Year's Eve, and this is to honor the, I'll leave it here, the beautiful Sophia-Kryst Frequency. So good, so good. So welcoming all, and I'm really excited to have you with us and just sort of get situated in this new space. And it is literally a new space that we have entered into. And let's get some of the rose water in. And yeah, so love to hear from all of you. And I wanted also like just celebrate with you today. Celebrate this rebirth, like literally being rebirthed into this plane 9 years ago. And this morning I woke up, I saw Nevon. I was like, Nevon, it's Mom's celebration, my rebirth. And I was so excited. And he's like, Mom, I'm not very happy about that. You died. I was like, I know, but I experienced life after death. I experienced afterlife. Do you understand how incredible that is? And he's like, no, Mom, but I know you're excited, but I don't really want to talk about it. I said, I want you, let me see. I said, I want you to talk about it. It's beautiful. Why not? You know, enjoy. And so he didn't really want to. I talked to my mom this morning. I said, Mommy, happy anniversary to me. You didn't say happy anniversary. She said, why? I said, Mom, I died today at 7:21 p.m. Remember 9 years ago? She's like, I don't really want to talk about that. No, nobody wants to talk about it.
I think it was more of a joyful experience for you
For
than
me, nobody
everyone
wants
else.
to talk about it. She's like, oh, you were so, it was bad, honey. I was like, Mommy, I've talked to you about it. So she said, but I actually, this past 2020, I had a chance to talk to my mom in detail about the experience. So it was beautiful because she never wanted to talk about it. So my other son, Keon, came to that. I'm like, Keon, happy rebirth to me. He's like, okay, Mom. I'm like, why isn't anybody excited? Like, as much as I am. So today my prayer was so good. I was thanking, oh my gosh, I was thanking the Arcturian councils. I was like, just going into the bit of that experience, the cellular memory of what took place and meeting them. Like, I mean, it felt like it was so long, that 4 minutes when I was gone, but I experienced so much. And for me, what's left is the celebration. Just like when I was 7 in the fatal car crash, I didn't experience the trauma at all. I experienced still the celebration of what took place. None of the pain or suffering or any of that. So it was so interesting. Even Ken's like, okay, Mommy, happy birthday. I was like, thank you. Celebrate me. Celebrate my rebirth. I was like, I didn't want to come here at all, but I'm here. The job has to be done. It is an Earth mission that has to be finished. And
it's interesting. I think you told Nevon, you're like, I would have never come back if I had the chance to stay there. He's like, Mom. I'm like, no, really, it was so beautiful up there. I got to experience the true essence of love. He's like, Mom. He's like, no, it was just funny to see her children, because when Honey goes into her galactic spiritual mode, the children kind of cringe inward because they hear, but sometimes they don't want to fully listen to it.
It was so funny. And I haven't talked to my brother yet. And it was cute. Some of my friends, they're like, oh, happy rebirth. They're really celebrating. And I understand some they just don't really know how to handle it or how to communicate it. And there are not that many people a lot of people have had NDE, near death, where they have just had a temporary experience of that, but they haven't had like a full death experience. Over the years, the individuals that I interviewed, the ones that like me, their heart stopped, that fully crossed over, they just remember a light, but they don't even remember details. I have had just a few people that have full memory of what took place, and they're excited to talk about it. There are a few people that I met, they just went to the void. And there's nothing, they did no experience of celebration, nothing, like complete nothingness. So I can't relate to that because mine was like pure ecstatic, like pure ecstatic ecstasy. And so there's this excited for me that I want to share, and it makes me feel like it brings this feeling. Never knows we're alive, but look, and there is this feeling that like I'm excited to share. And okay, let me see, where's your phone? Can you text Nevon? Sorry, my son Nevon said, can you text him, say we're live? Yeah. He knows we're live.
Sure, I'll tell him right now.
He's so funny. So I don't know what's going on with him right now. This is our
Ted June just called too.
I hope everything is okay.
Can we just call real quick, check in? Let me
just why don't you go check in what's going on? I don't know, something must be going on. Sorry everyone, just give us a minute while we're trying to find this out. So I'm not getting all the, please bear with us. I'm getting all notification, like text messages from everywhere. Don't know what's going on with Nevon right now, and my papa calling. And
yeah,
let me just see what's going on for a second. Anyway, so there's this feeling in me that really wants to come. What is he looking for? Sorry,
his wallet. If it's in his room.
Okay, so this is a daily occurrence. Mommy, are my keys there? Mommy, are my wallet there? This is every day. So okay, here we go. Like,
it's the brown one, right?
That's his wallet. There's the only wallet, Malik. Okay, so that's what's going on.
He's worse than me.
Yeah, you're both the same. This is part of my daily experience here between all of them, between Michael, Nevon, and my son Kian. Mommy, did I leave my iPods there? Mom, did I leave my key there? Michael, did I leave my... It's just continuous. But anyway, so I wanted to share this part, that there's this, for those of us who've crossed over and we have been reshifted, our frequency has changed, our DNA has been changed. There's like a whole different lens that we are seeing the world through. There's this very, very lonely also experience, because we have a very hard time sharing this with others, because others can't really relate to you, and neither do they want to talk to you, because it does involve death. And there's this taboo of death, the uncomfortableness of death, that most, even the conscious one, don't really like talking about it, because there's usually like, well, I'm glad you're back, glad you're, but of course that, yet there's this reverence for the experience that it's so difficult to share with somebody that hasn't experienced that. So there have only been a couple of people that we had the experience, and they are also living their purpose because of that. They're devoted to that, and we get to actually share it. Otherwise, it's pretty lonely, because, you know, it just is pretty lonely. And you see things from a different lens, but most around you don't really listen. They don't hear, they don't heart, they go about their own, and you bring things to their awareness, because you can see from a complete different spectrum that is way wider, and then they can't see, so they project their, you know, limitation out, because they are where they are and not wanting to expand. Meanwhile, the expansion is there. I wish I had somebody who, like me, had crossed over, was earlier in my life, would get, if it brought any if such an individual was in my life during my 20s or my 30s or my 40s, and they were sharing their wisdom, all I would want to do is just listen. So I'm so activated around that presence, that frequency, that is also within me that just wants to be expanded to its resonance. And I have found most individuals, because they're living from their survival mode, they are not able to fully take advantage, is what I would probably say.
Would you also say maybe people aren't open enough to actually feel? Because sometimes if someone's not completely open to that experience, or even open to the idea of it, the energy of it may just be a little foreign to them, versus those that may be a little more, I'm going to say open, just a way of receiving that the nature of what you went through really is a gift to the collective, and the ability for people to see what was experienced and what you brought back, like the ability of what you really
switch this for a sec. I'm listening, Mike. I'm listening.
What was really given in the opportunity for you to see, hear, feel, and really what I get very fascinated about, because ever since growing up and just being inundated with reincarnation, other dimensions, other areas, to me it's so fascinating for me to hear every other element of life, every aspect of it on both sides, here in the physical, here in the ethereal, here in different areas. But at the same time, with people, depending where they are in their consciousness, it really depends to see if they are open to really listen and to really hear what happens, because it could be it is a I find extraordinary treasure to have that energy being brought forward with us in ways that you're giving that experience of what you felt and then sharing it through.
Well, it's not felt, it's a consciousness. So I do hear what you're saying, and I'm really happy with the ones that are here today. We get to celebrate, and I just have this special edition for those who are also on our Ascension Alchemists Facebook page, so that we can share this with them on this Friday tea time, which we always have it on our YouTube channel, and just because it's the 9-year anniversary celebration, so we're going to just have it live also on the Ascension Alchemist page. And there is something magnificent about it's not so much the destination. I feel like when there is let's say, just like when we have a contact, there is this other presence. And this other presence is not anything outside of you, but there's that presence that's been able to establish contact. There is that reawakening that, oh wow, this is also available in me. I feel like when I got to experience meeting the Arcturian Council, especially the Golden Council, the 12 of them, but not being in this form. And I feel there's always this thing about when you die, what happens to your form. Of course, the physical is this, and there's a lot of teaching about what happens. And for some of us that have experienced going from changing of the forms from a light body to no light body at all, just a consciousness, and then the consciousness is in the communication, because it bypasses all of those, let's say, filters, if you want to call it, or they're different planes of dimensional fields. And so when I met with the Arcturian councils in AfterLife, it was incredible to the communication that was just from consciousness that was communicated, which was a lens of consciousness communicating with this very, very tall, majestic, blue, royal blue beings with this hue of light behind them, like about 18 to 20 feet tall. And the way they were standing, and the way this like a, best I can say is an essential hall, this particular platform place they were, and the way they were bringing things into the center to communicate to me, to demonstrate. In the communication was very different. It was just in the plain consciousness. So there was no form to me in afterlife, but I was part of their consciousness, and that's before I left my light body. So first, as a spirit, I was in the light body, in the spirit body, and then it transcended all of that. So it was so beautiful to be in that presence, and then watching those opening up the screens for me to see all these lifetimes, like 844 lifetimes, like flashing light before. Then you get to see how many incarnations. Well, I don't know about others, but I know the amount of incarnations I had was remarkable. All the different forms, and then to the last one, choosing to be in this form, to then embody as a soul inception into this incarnation to deliver a specific purpose that ties into all these other lifetimes. What was the lessons, the teachings, the blessings, the curses, like everything that was from all these lifetimes to bring it into completion in this last incarnation. And it was so incredible to see that, and then see my family members, the biological family, in this incarnation now, just before coming in, choosing on a soul plane who's going to be who and what the contracts are. So when we have been able to see that at such level of clarity, and then be sent back with a very specific clarity as what the mission is. So then there's this focused energy of a mission, what has to be delivered, and I that moment, the moment where I saw the light coming after the Arcturian Golden Council of 12, they explained everything, shared everything, literally everything, especially when they brought my DNA in the center. So here's my full consciousness, and then here's my DNA, not within a form, brought into the consciousness and reshifted in the strands. And I get to literally see the different coding of my DNA. And they had said it will be only updated to the 8th strand. The other 12 cannot be. Once I'm on Earth, it will be restructured. So when that was taking place, then when the light started coming, like this piercing, bright, luminous light, just so piercing, like it was as if my consciousness was going to the light, but the light was coming to merge with me. And when I heard the voice, when I got to see, it's so bright, and I mean, it's so piercing bright, you can't, blinding, the blindingness, but the blindingness, most people don't understand, they only recognize it as a light, not the vibration of the piercing love that was emanating from the light. The love is such a is such a it's so expansive that within the human form we can't even digest it, we can't even conceive it, we can't even grasp it, because it's so ginormous, because the human form does not have the capacity to handle that much luminosity. Yet it's inside of it, it's in its 50 trillion cells, but we can't be fully in our light body because we won't be able to be in a form. So within that consciousness, when I got to experience, and then the voice as the living Christ, Yeshua as the living Christ spoke, was just so ginormic, and my consciousness went back to several times in this incarnation when the same voice had spoken, that I didn't know who it was at that time. I had no idea who it was from very early childhood, this voice, and it was this piercing golden piercing, almost liquid light, but it's the vibration of love that we can't even digest. That was that connection, to be reconnected into my Christhood, into my crystalline, into my my Holy Christ self be activated back in me, so that as a carrier of that, to assist others in their living Christ, all of us becoming the living Christ. And that is the second coming of Christ, which is in all, but it's not religion. It's definitely not Christianity. There was none of that mentioned whatsoever on there. It was the consciousness recognizing itself as a holy, crystalline, Christed, luminous being that descends from the eternal flame of the mighty I am. So here is this consciousness that experienced that directly, and I'm blasted. I'm just blasted in that temporary moment. Before then, he says, "You got to go back." Like I didn't even have a choice. I didn't even have a choice. All I was doing was bathing, like bathing, and it had that bit of that hue of a bit of a pink. That's where. So here we are, 9 years later. We do this ceremony of 2020 New Year's Eve with this Sophia-Kryst, and that's that. It's that luminous golden. There's that pink. It carries the cosmic love, and it's very difficult to capture this in an essence and really, really attempt to even. But it's such a direct experience, where this direct experience has such a clarity, and it's from. I put this on today at my bendy because it is this lens that sees. It's not my physical eyes that sees. It is the lens in which was activated within from that consciousness, the purity of its consciousness that sees, that then brings the messages through. And of course, it's not received often. And then being able to recognize when I cringe in many different places, such as churches or temples or mosque, in attempt of so-called religion to share the message of God, the number one thing that is missing from all of it is the power of the divine love. And that's because it's not able to be capturing the frequency from that plane of consciousness, because it is just an intellect that has captured it within the mental field, but has not been able to bring it into the emotional, and certainly not the physical template for it to be an embodied, so that it becomes a living chalice, like literally a living chalice where the Christ light can radiate out. So I'm going on a tangent, but it is truly for me today. It was a living miracle to experience life after death, the afterlife of what happens when this presence crosses over, leaves this temporary vessel behind, and goes to one plane, then transforms to another plane, goes to another plane. And in my case, being a galactic being, meeting with my galactic family first, and then but I wasn't given permission to fully merge back with the light of my mighty I am presence, because the job had to be completed. And that's why beloved Yeshua, Master Christ, said you have to go back. I didn't want to come back. Why would I want to come back? Like when you're in that presence.
I really feel it's a blessing, honey. I mean, for all levels of consciousness, all people of where they are in their own ascension journey, to have that ability to bring back what you experienced, whether that feeling, even it was beyond feeling.
It's not a feeling. But it's an experience.
But when you felt that level
it's a
of
direct,
love, but when there was that love, you did feel that amount of love that you experienced.
It's not. You can't put a feeling. It's not even a feeling.
Beyond words,
it's a direct experience of merging.
Okay, so you brought that back,
right,
to share with others, to allow people to really see beyond their limited beliefs, beyond
Well,
their programs.
it's more like a sort of like a, just like when you go, let's say on a trail, right? Like you go on a mountain trail, there's some trail left behind, like a pathway, how you navigate. It's just a navigation. Like as you know, I fully recognize being sent back as an emissary of light to be able to assist in others navigating the realms
But imagine,
into the light.
imagine those that have never heard about that. Imagine those that have never experienced that. To them, it could be the biggest gift. To them,
It can be.
Well, it is, because if they don't believe in life after death, if there's anything blocking their consciousness, if there's like, well, I had this, you give the greater experience to what is for them to see and for them to open their eyes to a greater bit. I mean, it's because not everyone are believers. Not everyone is in a position
and that's
to
because
see,
of the religion has really, because even beloved Yeshua the Christ, he was the biggest respect of reincarnation, and that's the complete thing that's been taken out. So to dominate and control
that's what you get to share beyond the religion, because when a lot of people speak of Jesus or Yeshua, they associate it with Christ, the cross, the religious aspect. But you have that ability to share beyond what this earthly plane is given to them. So that to me is the biggest blessing anyone can have, because the first experience of you witnessing in that is also the gift of you sharing that for those that can really be inspired by it, to be motivated by it, even for them to connect into that realm. Because even the Golden Council of Arcturians, like the areas that like are being brought forward, gives others that taste. Many people in this life have never had that taste. Many people may never get that experience, and because you experienced that taste and brought that taste
but
back,
in meditations they can experience. And the other part of
the
this,
fullest level that you experience. I mean, that what you experience, I'm sure, yes, meditation, but to be shown, all of your lives, to be experienced all of that to me is like an unbelievable opportunity, just to give the education, the wisdom, the ability for people to be aware of what happens in that moment. Because I mean, even you spoke about Archangel Haniel. Haniel was brought.
So I have to share this part of my favorite part. I mean, there's so many favorite parts of this. For those of you who just joining, haven't heard the story. So when I was on the treatment bed, literally, and when my heart stopped, when I crossed over, it was very much, it's exactly like what you see in movies. I moved out of my physical body and I came out, went on top of the room first, and I looked down upon my body. And the first immediate experience was the liberation and the lightness of it. And it felt so joyful. It felt like, I can't even explain, the thousands of burdens and weight was off of me, literally. And I was so light, like a feather, and I moved up. And when I moved up, I looked at my body, and now that was a direct feeling. When I looked down at my body, I was like, oh, thank God it's done. Like, it was like, it's like, I'm so finished with it. So and that's what's interesting, because we're so attached to our physical template, and as an understanding of who we think we are, because we're so attached to our human form, our look, our gender, our religion association, and all of that sort of like forms the identity, which is, when you leave, that's the first thing. I mean, it's a complete stripping of all of that. You recognize you're not of it. And then when you're in the light body, which is the spirit body, like I was this in this luminous, like this, but this luminous, free flowing thing, like and like an octoplasm, literally. And when I moved out of the room, immediately I moved out of earth. I moved into this space, which was literally like a space, Michael. And the very first thing I saw was I was in this space, and then this beautiful pinkish, literally pink, this magnificent pink color angel with such spectacular, glorious light, wings, light, but it was just so luminous, appeared. And it had what best we would say, like a, in this reality, we call it like a magic wand, but it wasn't. But there was something in her hand that sparkled something. And she went like this, and like this, and like this. But there were 3 rings of pink mist type of thing she put around me. And of course I had heard of this, because when you go, you never leave alone. So here was this massive archangel holding me as I welcome. I was so welcomed by her love, by her light, by her presence, and it was just so loving. Then she, within this mist, it was that she took me to this corridor, and the corridor split. The split I saw to my right was all the loved ones, like my biological loved ones. I saw like, oh, that's the space where all of them were waiting, like my grandfather, my grandmother, my dad, my aunt, uncles, cousin, all of them. And they're like this, waiting, like, whoa, like just waiting for my arrival. But then there was this other corridor, and there was no choice in me which direction. I immediately was taken. Archangel Haniel took me to this other corridor where it very much was like, very much like, if any of you have experienced going through the Jupiter corridor, it's like a vortex portal, and you go, and I went on, like, it's like a light speed, and everything is spiraling, and it's so fast, and I entered a whole different plane. I went to another universe, another plane, and I was somewhere where I was for a while inside a nebula. That's where I was, and it was all starburst, and just exactly like, there's this one image of NASA telescope that's captured the nebula of the starburst, and it looks like the eye of God. I was exactly in that, and I was just in that, but I was no longer in this. No longer in that light body, none of that. And I was more the consciousness of the mind's eye seeing. And that's when then I was taken to another place. So it was like 3 transitions. And that's when I was then brought into that council, the golden council light in Arcturus, where and Arcturus, is a red fiery planet, and I was brought in there. Best I can say, I was brought inside Athena, the mothership, and it was a room. I remember very clearly what the room looked like, and the way they had stood up, and they're all translucent like this. And 6 and 6, but when I was brought, it was consciousness. So it wasn't even the mind's eye any longer. I was consciousness with the mothership. I was consciousness with each of them. I was consciousness with all in that place. So it's like a different levels of consciousness in that afterlife that I experienced. Meanwhile, I'm aware that those that I've interviewed, they didn't experience. Many of them can't even remember what took place. They just saw the light. They don't remember any of these details that I share. And some individuals, some of the experience they have, they just communicated like, I went to heaven, especially when they meet beloved Yeshua like me. And over the years, I've had many Christians getting so angry, hateful, so mad at me that you met Jesus and you have to claim that you are a Christian now, that you went to heaven. And I absolutely will not accept that, because that's not what happened. In their limited perception, there's this control domination to identify it that way, because they can't even recognize the galactic Arcturian family of mine that as the elders, I had to reconnect back with them. And that is not, okay, yeah, you want to call that heaven? Hell yeah, because it was incredible and amazing. Okay.
Did you ever put together the experience with Archangel Haniel when she did that movement with her hand, and then the recent dream you've had with Archangel Michael, when you said you saw a handicapped child and you
no, two different things.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But point being, I've had over the years people get upset. Well, you should claim. I don't understand what kind of person are you? You met Jesus, the Christ, the living Christ, and you don't claim his Christianity. No, because that's not. So again, as a messenger of light, as an emissary of light that was sent back by Master beloved Yeshua, the living Christ, he never said to me, you are now to carry Christianity. Never. It didn't even exist there. He did show me the time that I lived at that time 2,000 years ago, in that where it was that seeing that lifetime was completely shown to me, and I hold it in such reverence that I'm not going to speak of it, what was shown to me. And so but being able to send back, there was none of that. The only thing that was activated in me was the actual living Christ, that I am a living Christ, just like every single one of us is a living Christ. And we are to be the living Christ, crystalline beings of light, carrying our flame of mighty I am presence through this Christed light that carries the golden luminous illumination, that we are to carry the golden age, connecting it to the golden unity Christ consciousness grid on earth. And that's why when I was sent back, the very first thing was get on the road, activate these years of these grid points to bring the frequency and anchor it into earth, so that the Christ light first as a foundation becomes. And this is why I get so mad at you sometimes, because everything for me is to ground the energy foundation. Then you build the frequency on it. That sometimes you don't understand, capture how deep this is from where I'm speaking from. So anyway, I'm on fire right now, because it excites me to be able to once a year at least dedicate and really speak about what this true treasure gift was that I got to encounter. And also gift of it was very painful coming back. I coming back and not be able to articulate. So one of the things that I really want to say to everybody, if you or anybody, if you ever die and cross over like me, and you're sent back for a while, you can't talk, you can't put anything into words, you can't even capture it. Like it's like you're in complete different dimensional reality, and you are looked at very strange, especially if you were sick, like how sick I was, how deathly I look, like how thin I was, and I just looked like death. But then you have all the family members that are just so worried, so sick, worried about you, but they can't even hear what you experience. They don't even want to hear, because all they care about, like, did you get better? Like, they don't even want to hear the magic, the mystical, the incredible experience. So you have nobody to talk to. And if anything, when you're walking dead, it's considered you've come back from afterlife, then people are scared shitless of you. Then they really keep distance. And that's one of the big things that happened with a lot of friends. Then they're like, oh, something weird with you. They don't want to talk to you because, like, you came from afterlife. They're now suddenly very, as if you're a zombie. And then from there, then you go through all these life changes, one after another, at such a fast speed. There is no break in between, and you can't even put into words. So for those of you that want to know the full detail, it took me 4 years later to do a video of what took place, and it's a full half an hour. You're more than welcome to watch it, because I couldn't even put everything into words, and it takes a while. And the other part of it is you come back, you're just trying to find your grounding, because you know you're completely changed. You're not even that person anymore. You're something else. You're completely a different being that entered the template again, but you know you're not you anymore. And then you have memory loss of your life that you lived in this incarnation. There's so much you don't remember. You don't remember people's names. You don't remember things from memory, childhood. Your, mom, whatever, tell you, honey, do you remember this? You don't remember. You have no connection with many family members anymore. You don't even. It's very much like you're a walk-in.
Did you ever think you were a walk-in?
Absolutely, I question that quite a bit, because I have certain memories of certain things, but there are many people that would say, hey, honey, I don't remember them at all. And you've seen that. There's several people. They say, oh, we did this. Zero memory, zero remembrance at all. So be patient with individuals such as that, because they're coming from a complete different place. They've just returned back, and they're coming from advanced journey of their consciousness has completely shifted, and their DNA is completely shifted. And one of the most strangest thing that happened to me when I came back is multidimensionally, without closing my eyes, be able to see codes, be able to see them floating, but be able to see symbols and codes just floating in the room, just like you see in the movies, and then see it in people. And the other one was, as I'm walking, the Arcturians say they're going to show me the patterns, the geometric form of people, very much like it's like a Matrix movie, but you're in it, you're experiencing all these geometric forms in people. The amount of geometry, at one point I wanted it to stop, because I didn't want to see the geometric patterns of people, the ones that were unhealthy, the ones that were healthy. The Arcturians were showing me how, like, within their patterns were unhealthy, healthy, unhealthy. This is 9 years ago. So it makes you like crazy after a while. And but it was very much after that, within a month later, is when I had my direct experience with Archangel Michael, where Archangel Michael, in the Awakening the Illuminated Heart, he came and he put his wings entirely around me, and he gave me a box, and he asked me to open it. And when I opened it, it was empty. And I looked at him in such a surprise. I was like, what is this? He said, you're now able to fill it with anything you want. So when individuals are like, there's a lot, I understand there are many individuals that channel disguised beings, and there's a really negative association with Archangel Michael sometimes from people, and they have not had the richness of the true experience of the love. And that frequency that I experienced with beloved Master Christ, Yeshua, it was so piercing. And it was, so it allows me to decipher through instantly what is pure, what is impure, what is compromised, what is uncompromised. I can see through it instantly, because that frequency has been left behind, and I can experience viscerally, okay, this is very pure material. It's so crystalline that it is coming from a very pure, direct way onto earth, and versus many, unfortunately, that are bringing material that's in a disguised form that they're not even aware of. And so it's been again, a beautiful blessing, and also challenging in many aspects. And I'm going to read the comments. The only other thing that I want to share with you from this is that one of the first thing that happened from this was the very first thing, I turned 40, and I knew the morning of my 40th birthday was I had to separate from my former spouse. So I began that, and then the Octorians the month before that, I had gone to do the training with Dolores Cannon with quantum healing hypnosis therapy. So I was trained in that. I had a lot of experience in that, and within that, my experience in my own regression was I've been off planet, like not into the human, but I was back into the consciousness, and then carrying in the golden light. So much has been for me, carrying the golden light here, anchoring the golden light, bringing, and all of it translates into bringing the Christ light. But the Christ light is not just me, it is within the collective. We're all holy Christed beings of light. And when we connect to that part of ourselves, we're bringing the crystalline light of the Christus. And it is connected to the Divine Mother, Sophia-Kryst light. And this takes a while to come in. And that's what the patriarchy and the religion have left behind, the most important part of this. So, and we are, many of us, not just me, many of us that went through this experience, we're bringing this back as a container to connect it with Gaia's crystalline diamond heart, like literally. So these 7 planes, 7 of the grid systems can be fully activated. So we are able to be sustained in the Christ, and that's why we're seeing all that is dismantling before us on the surface level, the dark and the debris. That's why we can't get caught in any of the political arena, in the sex, gender, in the race card, none of that, because that's all washing out because of this pooling of this light of the unity Christ consciousness grid that's already been activated. But so many of us, especially that became the planetary healers, grid workers, anchoring this. So that was big 5 years of my journey, just going to all these places without understanding anything, but just it had to come through my body, which, a few years we got to share it and continue, and it continues to evolve, but it takes a while to ground the consciousness and for it to become a living material as an activated transmission when it is spoken out and brought to the public. And that's why we have these forms, so that the frequency can in its purest form can vibrate through, so that it becomes an activation in others who are coming into its frequency. The frequency allows them to be reactivated in the same consciousness because it already exists. And that's why all of these religions have blocked the consciousness, because you do come to your own divine power, your divine sovereignty, your divine essence, and it is the crumbling of the matrix when you come into this sovereign state, because you can see through it. You can completely, it's see through it. There's no more veils or anything like that. So anyway, got excited, went on a tangent, sharing with you all. Let's see what you said. So happy birthday to me. Happy celebration to me. I am so excited to be celebrating my rebirth day with you while I am back in this incarnation for 9 years. I'm being of service, devoted completely to this every morning, so devoted into this place, in its celebration, in chanting it and singing it, and being completely enchanted by the presence every morning. When I remember that moment when I met beloved Yeshua. It wasn't him. It's the Christ light that I return back to, and being able to shower myself with it, literally, so then I can bring it in. And I can always tell when I am not connected deeply because I can't pull it in really well, and then I'm thrown around. So thank you so much. So let me see what you all said. Valerie, happy Friday, Chitama.
Go a little higher.
When we get your, okay, oh, here. Okay, so Valerie says, it's not sad for a person who's living, but the family left behind will feel sadness at the loss. Of course, true. Happy rebirth. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Life with a teenager. Yeah, Valerie, exactly. I want that change, but without the dying part. Well, whatever your soul agreement chooses, sweetheart, it is. And the most NDD people end up getting divorced. Yeah, of course, because, you know, your whole entire, everything changes. Caitlin, ND is near-death experience. Carly, hi, Carly, nice to see you. Valerie says, when we get past our mental, intellectual mind filters, our true consciousness opens. Exactly. Carly says, so happy to hear. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carly. Thank you for coming to my rebirth celebration party right now. Valerie says, the light of the body is the eye. When the eye becomes single, the whole body shall be full of light. Yes. Religion was created to control the population. Oh, indeed, sister. And it had its purpose too, because it has a lot of power in it. When you don't know how to handle that energy, you don't know how to handle the power, you're a walking disaster. And we certainly see that still right now within the spiritual community, where people open up too fast. They don't know how to harness their frequency. They cause so much damage, and we certainly see that quite a bit. Have either of you experienced a soul braid with your higher aspect?
Soul fragments I've heard of. I haven't heard of a soul braid.
I don't know what you mean by that. It's the merging with your higher self. If you can explain that a little bit, because I don't know if the wording I'm capturing.
Would you say soul fragments versus soul braid?
Reach a point where the clarity is in this. So I don't know what that is. And let me see here. Hi, Kim. I love you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Hi, Mariam. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Laura. And hi, Caroline. Hi, Sunshine Love. Hi, Paola. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining us here and joining my birthday party. Not quite a walk-in, darling, but thank you. Thank you. I love you all so much too. So I am curious to know, before we go any further, hi, Renata. Much love. Thank you for joining my 9-year anniversary rebirth back to this plane. And it was January 8th, 2012 at 7:21 p.m. And I am curious to know if any of you have any questions specific for me before we go into like the 2021 frequency and this week particularly. And thank you for just bearing with me as I'm excited to be here. Hi, Laurelie. Happy rebirthday. Yeah, it is a rebirthday. Totally. Thank you for celebrating, because my family is not really celebrating me. And Michael, even today, he came and very kind of like a, not really warm, but like, hey, happy birthday.
It's been a rough past
like
days.
Not really celebrating. I want to show you all what I bought for myself. Look, this was for my birthday today. My own gift to me. So if you have any questions, yes, so soul fragments. Yes, Valerie, let me speak of that. There is a call of the soul fragments, because the soul fragment, here's one of the biggest thing, if I were to share from my, again, take it or leave it, but I can only share from my perspective, from this lens. There's this thing of souls that is separated in many different planes, consciousness, and all of that. When it has had its experience in multidimensionally, in different realities, different planes of consciousness, different parallel worlds and what have you. But when you come above that, you recognize that the mighty I am presence is experiencing presence in many different spectrums of light. And it is a full living spirit, and it cannot even be reduced to a soul. Within the spiritual consciousness, there's a lot of talk about a soul that sort of like defragments the consciousness to such like a little finite particle as what we would say, let's say, that must be something going on, Carl. Yeah, Michael.
Can we call them?
Ted, can you call Ted? I hope everything is okay. Maybe I hope everything is okay. Just sorry, bear with us for a second. We're having another call come in. That's my papa-in-law. We've had a lot of calls here. Regardless of that, even within this, it ties into any emotional trauma, any kind of experience where part of that light was, that light spectrum was stuck or frozen, that was not in its movement, that is being recalled back through the magnetic field to its origin of the divine blueprint. Hopefully this makes sense. So it shifts the consciousness from like this empowerment as the soul is being fragmented and you have no charge or control over it. It's the same thing, but it's just from a different consciousness. Because of the golden age, there's this golden calling that is bringing all parts of us within the spectrum of light in its unification, so it can radiate the crystalline Christ light freely. Now, this ties into our lower four bodies: the physical, the emotional, mental, and the etheric body, because when this spark of light has been frozen, it creates like a pocket of, let's say, blockage. And whether it's also happening in parallel realities or different dimensions, it doesn't allow the light to fully blast, so it bends it. So as we raise our consciousness, the octave of our light, these frozen parts start to spiral back again, and then they're able to be released. And especially when we are bringing the attention into them, we're meeting the frequency that helps it release to start spiraling again, and it opens that within our fields, within our bodies. Naturally, is the physical body that gets released from it. So then the crystalline living Christ light can, through the solar disk of light, can easily penetrate in all direction. Hopefully that really makes sense. I hope. So let me see. Valerie, let me see what you're saying. Because we reach a point where we have clarity of knowing to discern exactly, your soul fragments coming back. I'm actually seeing my other timelines that we're running parallel with this one, other version of it. Yeah, that a lot of that begins to also take place. Kim, let me see what you're saying. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for my birthday. And let's see, Kim is saying, you were shown in the box from AA Michael that you could be whatever you wanted. Also, you were shown that there was still work to be done and you were sent back. Do you have memory of choosing what you wanted to do, or were you just assigned different things to do, anchoring line around different places of birth? Thank you, sweetie. That's a very good question, Kim. So let me share with you when I was on, for some of you that are just joining, you can go back to see where I was when the 845 lives were shown. That was shown. Then when my soul, not soul again, when my divine mission for this particular last human incarnation was shown, it was very specific. The specific for the delivery of completion of this lifetime was to anchor and deliver the golden age as an emissary of light, as a messenger of light, anchoring the pure Christ light in the golden light. So this was to shown. So before, this is millions of years ago, when Earth was being created, where me and many of you also took part, we had set the core from inside of it out, and had created. I remember one of the experience I had was showing in the extraterrestrial body that I was in as an Arcturian to the scroll with the codes in it. I came to first put it as around the stratosphere of Earth. So that was shown. So in this incarnation, I'm completing it the other way because I won't be returning back into a human form. So in this one is to activate specifically this Magdalene Yeshua codes of light. They're Christed crystalline light. They carry the fullness of the unity Christ light that is balanced, that is harmonized, and it is in certain places that connects to. My assignment was the third grid system, which is the golden liquid light in these specific areas. So from the center of Gaia's heart, the light emanates out and connects through the other parts of the world. And I was to find the other ones who are part of this contract, so they be activated on it, so they can, as a group, also anchor this light. That's why I had to get on the road all these years to do the work planetary first. So it first I laid the foundation, then through the communities, they can all be activated back into this Christ light, the way we were in Atlantis and Lemuria, to then bring the purity ray through this crystalline light. So hopefully that makes sense. And that is the assignment, to fulfill it, to make sure it's important. That's why my job has been anything that comes in its way to dismantle it. And that's why the work was shown before I died, 2 years before, that somebody would be accompanying me. Somebody's coming to my lab so that we can do this together. And all of that. So hopefully that makes sense. Lisa, honey, Cynthia has a question that won't show up. She had a memory, physical sensation of re-entering her body after passing over. It is glorious, all that you have experienced. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Lisa. Consciousness Cynthia remembers the re-entering since she's read about walk-ins and have wondered for you both, but our higher selves done that. What? I don't understand that. I don't understand what that says. And that when we truly die, the silver cord is cut or disconnected somehow. Would you please? Okay, so this silver cord, let me say, I didn't experience that at all. So I can't tell you about that. There was no silver cord. I wasn't attached to nothing. So that's my experience. I can't tell you about that. But I have experienced the silver cord when I am sleeping, going in and coming back in. But when I died, when my heart completely stopped in that 4 minutes, there was zero silver cord. So I can't tell you about that. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for your question. And then Valerie, Michael has been a huge gift.
Thank you, Valerie.
Absolutely, it is a soul agreement.
It's a beautiful blessing.
and he has some trouble with it right now. You're running into some of the challenge and trouble with it.
There's good days and there's challenging days.
Challenging
but overall, Valerie, I appreciate your wonderful sweet words that it is a blessing. We can fully affirm that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's be honest. Like when let's be honest. The challenge in coming back with a frequency of full memory, remembrance, clarity, crystalline, and devoted, and like pretty precise, clean, and just very focused on the mission. Then you want to share a life and be of service and deal with family, your biological earth family, and meet the density, and then there's the relationship. Definitely not something for individuals to just sort of just want to experience. It is
a mastery.
It takes an art, and some days we have a lot of fun with it for sure, and some days no, because I feel like I can speak on my part. For me, especially like let's say today is the 9-year anniversary. It brings me back to everything that has happened with this and what I'm devoted to, what I'm called to assist humanity and Gaia. So I don't feel that I have time to waste and bullshit. It's just not in my consciousness. It's very clear mission, in, out, deliver the work. Because I was shown after this where I go. Beloved Yeshua, Master Christ, showed me. He said to me, he said, you'll be with us soon. I know exactly where I'm going. Not from a place of like where I'm going. So that means they showed me where they're going, where I gotta go, what my work is in the next after this. So I have so much reverence for the work. And so here in this earth, sometimes there's this distraction of, say, let's say what's happening politically, what's happening with family, what's happening this, and there's this lost focus of attention. And I feel that for some individuals who've experienced this, they don't. I know one person at least, he totally turned it down. He said he won't serve it. We actually, him and I both died the same day, January 8, 2012. He decided not to take it on. And I know others who are, and the whole life is devotion, is a living devotion. So it's not easy, and I have to say it's not easy for Michael to be with someone like me. I'll be the first one to say it. It's not. And it's not even easy for me to be with someone like me. I'll be the second one to say that. Because the will cannot be your own will. It doesn't work. Your human will is too weak. It's got no place for it. It is the high heart and the power of the divine heart, and it is the divine will that allows you to stomach things, go through where you would never, ever have the courage or the power or the strength to deliver what you're called to deliver. So that's probably what I would want to say about it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your honesty and your truth. And I feel that all masteries and all tests in life bring us higher into embodying the beautiful divine principles, the tests, the challenges, and ultimately the clearings that are coming through us, the areas that anytime that, you know, I personally just say when there's a challenge, when there's something that comes up, you know, I personally just, you know, versus processing, sometimes jump over and just look at what is the gift, and not just look at the superficial gift of what's meaning for me individually, but what is the gift for both of us to see? What is the gift that may be deeply rooted because of this time that's creating so much sadness, which I heard you say, Caitlin, or when the collective is going through so much energy shifts, what does that do in our own personal lifestyles? Because we're all conduits, and we are all on it individually going through it. We're going through it collectively, but also those that have signed up in a divine union go through it at a very intense level. And so there's so many healings, gifts, treasures that come out, and it's obviously the recognition of it, the accountability of it, the dedication, the devotion, but also the compassion, the love, the patience, all the virtues that are being placed forward are for us to bring forth in our own embodiment, even as human beings, but not being attached to our human beingness or being attached to our earthly realm, bringing that forward so that we can shine our hearts even greater, expand ourselves even larger, knowing at this time, you know, personally, I feel it's through any challenge, any test, it constantly brings up, how can I love more? How can I be more compassionate? How can I, you know, do that within myself first, obviously, because it's our own responsibility. And when it's within our own responsibility, it's important, as Honey mentioned earlier, to make sure that that's coming from myself versus not overextending, which, you know, many people, myself included, can do and forget to focus within thyself. Because if we're not doing it to ourselves, how can we do it to anyone else, even our closest loved ones? And so, I mean, obviously that's the wounded healer paradigm, but ultimately in these shifts that are happening, these energies that are increasing, the time that's moving is bringing forth so much through us, within us, and then looking deeply and saying the universe is bringing it forward to grab the attention of it, so that too can be dissolved, that too can be transformed, that too has a deep, deep root because of the reaction, the experience, the feeling that's been coming up from, if it's this lifetime, last lifetime's karmatic energies. So it's a very interesting phase that we're in right now. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of energies. You know, those that are in America can feel it moving, no matter what's happening, no matter where it is. There's great amount of division. There's great amount of things that are being blasted. And, you know, the most important thing that I keep, you know, being reminded is to keep coming back to the heart, keep coming back into how we can stay in the heart and let go of judgment and go into discernment. And the more compassionate way we can share that is through our actions, which I'm so grateful, because Honey reminds me quite amount of, it's that action that we create versus the thought versus wanting it, but actually doing it. Because of doing it, it's putting it into the wheels of energy are moving forward. And so it's been, you know, it's been a challenging past couple of weeks.
So coming into 2021, so Michael and I, so a couple months ahead, I had felt like we gotta have the ceremony. And the ceremony, about 2 months ahead, I was shown the frequency of the Sophia-Kryst, this 12th dimensional Sophia-Kryst frequency that was the encompassing of the 12 but it's 144 petals of the fully blossomed golden pink rose, and it is the golden pink rose ray, and it carries the wisdom of the Sophia, the divine mother, because the divine mother is a huge part of this, and especially going into 1221. So we know during the ceremony was so important for our New Year's Eve, and it was a very private gathering. The call went out to only 12 individuals. I was very much focused on 144 and 12. So like that 12 disciples, 12 individuals being sort of like representatives of the 12 rays of light, the 7 main one, the 5 mystery rays, and to be able to harness each individual carrying this ray, the 12 qualities of the divine love. So this was, there was 6 parts that we took individuals through the initiation ceremony, and quite a bit till they were ready enough to then go through each of the petals, calling it in, and for it to be activated in each of the 12 chakras, to then have these chakras merge as one, as the 144 petals of this blossom, fully blossom, resurrected. It is the resurrection and the life of this Christ light, which comes from the Mother Sophia light. And for it to be blasting, bringing it into 2021. So it's so incredible, our ceremony, and we felt we had to do it here. And we have the pyramid down, we put the unity Christ consciousness above it, so it creates like a tachyon, which is faster than the speed of light. So we have like our own ascension chamber here, individuals being able to transform the energy through the action of the violet flame, and quite a bit of the stuff taking place, including starting it with a very sacred forgiveness ceremony. Like everything was very, very ceremonial to then move in. So when we moved into this, and we brought in the New Year's Eve, and I knew it was so important. This frequency is going to be able to allow us to be anchored in, to go into it, so that together collectively we're able to be in the container of the Sophia-Kryst. And the Sophia-Kryst is this magnificent golden pink ray that is for all. It's truly for all. So every time, for that couple of days, every time I would close my eyes, I was like vibrating in my tube of light, this frequency, just saturated. So naturally within this place, then debris within you is going to be shown. It is going to be revealed, because we are all, each of us, in our own book of revelation, each of us. And the very first thing that happened this week, especially on the 6th, it was such an incredible initiation test for every single light wearer, light torch carriers, stars, light workers that still have association, that still have attachment to their sexual orientation, to their gender, to their political affiliation. All of that was revealed in them. So that means they still have debris, because they have to be totally detached and be able to stay above it all, to fully allow this crystalline light to emanate, and to really experience their piece of it. So many light workers were not able to do this. Some were able to stay. It didn't matter, because they had no attachment to, it wasn't about a vote fraud. It wasn't none of that. It was, can I stay in the presence of my crystalline light in true state of peace, and carry this luminous radiance light? Many bringers of light, stars, light workers, they didn't pass this initiation, because this was one of the biggest one of the third ray of light. To be, can you pass this? And it's okay. So if you weren't able to pass it because you got pulled in, because your energy went into the media or alternative media or what have you, and you have still so much association for this political figure, that figure, that gave you the opportunity to realize and recognize, wow, I got more detaching, because I'm not still able to be in a pure state of my crystalline light above that plane of consciousness. And so, but we got a chance to see it collectively, like there's this collective, like, how do I want to say, collapse and expansion. Mm-hmm. So now it's going to be restructuring, because this frequency has come onto the planet already, and there's some of us that are carrier of this frequency. We fully know what's playing on the surface is the dirt and the debris with the years of work we've done underneath with the grid work. And now all of this is pushed out. You have to be able to see clearly it's the dirt that is clearing out. But if you pulled into it, that means you still got your template to clear out, and that's also okay. So quite an incredible, amazing week, and there is a compassion I have for the collective energy, and I couldn't help myself. I have felt just the pure celebration of it. I can't help myself because I'm able to see the majestic, divine perfection. But you can't experience the divine perfection when you're pulled to any of these areas. So I am just here to remind you, hey, come over here. See the divine perfection. There is no chaos here. It is so perfectly being played out. It's not even funny how perfect it's being played out.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what has been arising, what has been coming to our surface, and really what is here to dismantle all of it, because everything is in divine order. Everything is happening in a way that's allowing us to shift higher into our greater levels of frequency. I mean, when we're moving through all of these energetic, let's just say events, it's giving another test, another opportunity to see if we can rise through it, to see how resilient we can be, to test us, what is our response, where is our reaction, to see, are we being distracted by it, to seeing where we're being pulled, and also to recognizing, our firm, healthy grounding through it. I know myself, being an air sign, sometimes I can, get very distracted in my airiness. So I have to be very careful of just seeing how far I go out, because there's just a lot that I have an interest for, and I can see things. So it's been a great week to really refine, look at where I can ground more, where I can really dig deeper in, so that as I ground more, because I remember even feeling, I remember receiving a message a couple months ago, and a couple months ago, I kept hearing, as things keep getting faster, as frequencies keep rising, it's time to refine more and ground deeper. And it reminded me of this amazing, beautiful, powerful oak tree. Actually, it was like a golden oak tree, and that golden oak tree was firm. It was rooted deep into Mother Earth, and in that, it just kind of gave me the vision that when we are planted into this earth, when we were strong and rooted through our feet, then we were connected to Source, and then we'll always be supported, we'll always be guided, we'll always be here with the fullest amount of love that's already here given to us. And so it was interesting to see that, and then also watch what was happening around the collective, what was happening on social media, and just the energy sometimes. I mean, even just living in the metropolitan of Washington, D.C., no matter how much your energy can be high, there's still frequencies in this area. I know, Valerie, you've lived in this area, and a lot of our light community that's here can feel these frequencies and energies, because it is moving through us.
But I tell you, when I went yesterday, I was guided to go to Washington, D.C., even the Masonic headquarters. When I went to the, Michael, where's the big charger for a second, because this power is going to go out. When I went to Washington, D.C. by the monument, all I felt was wow, the freedom's flame. It felt so good, this freedom's flame, because I could feel all the clearing had already taken place in the higher plane. Now it's going to start trickling down through the planes into here. And we, as the bringers of light, because we've cleared our template, we have no more affiliation with this, attachment to this, none of that. It's out of our system. We're able to ground the energy in its purity. And it felt just so incredible, and also allowing things to be. And the first thing yesterday morning in the shower that happened, when I was taking a shower, I had this very strong call to gather my sisters that are in this area, but the ones that have transcended the consciousness of, again, political affiliation, sex, religion, especially the race card. They have completely transcended that, to, in a private circle, gather them so we can just sit together and hold that frequency of light together. So I'll be doing a private invitation for some of these ones that I know have. There's some beautiful light worker sisters I have that unfortunately are still so attached to politically and like, you know, race and all of that. That they still got some more cleaning inner work to do, and so they can't fully be in the purity of that radiance light just to allow it to come in through the template. So that will be taking place. But it's such a beautiful celebration right now. And for those of us that entered to 2021 and starting to celebration, we are able to dismantle the remaining debris through our true celebration of the luminosity of what is so clear and transparent before eyes, because it's not the physical eyes sees. It's not even the third eyes that see. It is the eye of the heart that's so open that can completely see, and it goes through like the qualities of the rose, right? The qualities of that through its acceptance, through its accountability, through its activity, through its adoration, through its
awareness.
Well, awareness is today, but through its authority, through its attention, through its allowance. And today is the day of authority. So we are really saturated in the quality of life. Today's awareness, like I am awareness, to just bringing this quality in. So it's quite remarkable place. And again, like I can't help to celebrate, and I couldn't be more grateful to celebrate with all of you, especially here, and all the new ways. I want to share this. If you notice, some of our graphic works has changed to have the frequency of the chalice, because we are the living chalice. We each hold the cup of life ourselves, and this ties into Lady Portia that showed we each hold the freedom's flame, because we are the cup that fills it. It is up to us. And this ties into the, again, divine mother energy is the Magdalene frequency on the planet that is bringing the voice of its consciousness. And this ties to the womb inside of us, and is the bridal chamber. It is the marriage which is inside, that's merged the sacred divine feminine, sacred divine masculine. And this was given at our beautiful ceremony. And this is the 144 qualities of the divine that we're going through each day. We welcome all of you to join us for the next 144 days. You see on Ascension Alchemists page, each day we put the quality, and the full day is dedicated to that quality. Like today is I am awareness. You say it 12 times. You bring the awareness in, and you connect it with the previous petals that are part of this frequency. And and again, here we are, the chart of what we are, bringing it through our Holy Christed stuff, and that's what I experienced. Pulling it in, letting everything else transmute through. So all these rays are being put into action through the decrees. So we've updated bunch of things on our Essential Alchemist page and meetup page to match this frequency of this Solaris that is also the crystalline, that is connected to the great central sun, that is the Sophia-Kryst frequency. So it can match, so it can ground the energy coming through the portal, through our meetup, through our Facebook, and through, again, coming in here. So we picked 4 time frame, 4 in the afternoon, so to ground it in the 4 directions. So everything is around this 4 you see, so we can constantly ground it together with you. And all the graphics, and I'm trying to have Michael to like some of the things like in the graphics, so he can recognize it's a frequency that we're pulling in, whether it's the voice of the sacred divine masculine, or our Tuesday night meditation has changed. We started this week so that we can have an issue that is on earth that needs resolving. So together we can bring our frequency in and hold that vibration of the solution with the frequency of our love and birth the new reality together. So that's been now our new Tuesday nights, the way we're doing it. But we're going to slow this process down of bringing the golden light in before we go any further. And I should also add, like, our Sacred Sunday spiritual service, which will be end of this month. It is also live stream. It is going to be very focused the way it used to be, exactly with beloved Yeshua and the disciples. You have to understand, Yeshua was never a leader. This is some of the thing that's meant. He never wanted to be that. He called it the way. The way was each of us were participants. With our truth, we will bring it and we would say that together, share it. So with our Sacred Sunday, we're going to be bringing the invocations, the decrees, but each of us taking part in decree, being able to call in these rays of light. So each of us, as reverence for being able to carry these rays of light in the decree and call in action, bringing it through. So these are some of the things that are coming up for us in 2021 to just match the frequency, to ground it, like truly embodiment, grounding even deeper.
Yeah, it's been amazing waking up each morning and hearing Honey do her beautiful decrees in the morning, because they have such power and such words of just full experience, and it's really inspired and motivated me to really go deeper into my morning prayers, other than what I usually connect with, but bring in the decrees so I can feel the living presence of it and feel the living words that come out, because it does have such a power, the power of them to come through and to really say them out loud and to really express them in a way, because we know that, we're moving and in this age of Aquarius, and there's so much expansion happening around us. And so it's great to express what's being, sorry, I had a nut in my mouth. It's great to express what's being, but also to feel these living vibrations, these codes that are becoming in. So it's been amazing to see how these frequencies move in and out and really help uplift and bring your vibration
and
higher.
2020 was so important with the crown becoming activated as the living corona. It was such an important part of the perfection of the divine plan, because that's the Christ light touching our crown, literally, and to activate this Aquarian age of the golden age, to bring it in, and to know what is being played out, that wants to make sure it blocks it through, let's say, injections and what have you. So you do not. So it blocks the connection. Once you're so clear, you know what is going on, and you can't be covered, literally masked, because the breath of yours is giving birth to these realities. So that's what you're standing up to. It's beyond, and you're standing on reverence and grace, holding a vibration. That's why you cannot give your living consent to so-called the debris that have to dismantle that, and you cannot give your attention, your sacred attention, energy, in allowing it to materialize any further. So when the consciousness has really risen, you deplug and you plug it back in, you plug the golden cable, and you're harnessing the frequency in a whole different way. And I feel 2021 is amazing, because thank Goddess to 2022, and thank Goddess for all the stuff that happened politically. You can see the vibration shift where individuals are in their timeline, and you can feel the magnetic pull of the ones that are withdrawn together, because we're sharing the same frequency now, where this can stream faster without these blockages. So that's where there's these more changes of friendships, particularly between this period of December going to January, and it's totally okay. So I want to touch on this. If you have found your friendships, because especially the 6 was very important revelation. It was an initiation revelation. If you got a chance to, it was designed for all of us to see clearly where energetically, frequency by where we are, so that whether we're interacting with certain individuals or not, simple, because where the frequency is, you are able to, without judgment, okay, here's that frequency, it no longer resonates to align with this person. So you move forward. You start pulling the energy field stronger with other ones that are match frequency. So again, don't go nuts, unfriending people. You can just unfollow. There are others you can unfollow. It's with love anyway, but does not mean you're going to interact, because the frequency has shifted. Because it's a planetary work, we're just aligning together to carry the work through, and you let others be exactly where they are.
I think you answered the question out of Carly without even reading it.
I didn't even know. What did Carly say?
It's perfect timing, because Carly, thank you, Carly. It says, if we notice that we were being pulled into the current events arising, what is the best way to ground ourselves to combat those feelings? And I feel Honey couldn't say it any more crystal clear of what was just said. So I'm not going to repeat it, but I would just say, where we give our attention to is where we give our energy to. And I know that myself. I've definitely been distracted by the energies.
I did get mad at Michael. I do have to say, like, I was disappointed and mad at him, how he really did get pulled in.
And it wasn't just,
his energy was giving so much to that.
Yeah.
I got really
it wasn't more
upset at him.
The outer energies of what's happening. It was more family. It was more my overextension and my own.
But also what was taking place, Michael, too. Like, you did get pulled in, and it's like, look, whoa, what are you doing? You know better.
I think one of my things that I've grown and I've seen is just watching my curiosity. You know how they say curiosity, like a cat. There's this deep curiosity of just excitement of what's going to happen. So sometimes I like to really draw with them, like, oh, what's going to happen? What's happening? And I think that's the thing that I feel most important for me and for many is just, and what I want to speak about, even do a video very soon, is just that the energy of trust, and just to trust all that's moving through right now is exactly where we are, and to focus and harness on that trust, because that trust does give us the opportunity to connect. Trust gives us the opportunity to be more open. Trust gives us the opportunity to really give that ability to stand strong in our formation. So when there is a lack of trust, say, on certain areas, and you're attached to it, you can also see that effect of what's happening. And so I could see certain areas that were pulling on my field, overextension, and obviously not treating this goddess in the fullness of where I was, because my attention was divided in many different planes. And I feel it comes back really to that anchoring, coming back to the organization, and coming back to really feeding that ascension flame within us of self-love, self-nourish, self-honor, so that it can be rooted in the highest levels. Because if we're not loving ourselves and taking time for that, then it takes it's very hard to express that love if it's coming from a place that hasn't dedicated that time and really anchoring it within themselves.
I feel you touched on something so important that I do have to address this too. When we're speaking of self-love, we're not talking about just this physical template.
No.
You are coming to the capital S, the higher self. In order to honor that higher self, you have to create this space to make contact, to embrace it, to in your action. So that means when you overextend, you're unable. When you overextend, it's because you're trying to make up for some kind of insecurity inside, and you have to see lack of. You got to catch that, because that is in separation of your wholeness, of the truth of what you are, who you are. The other part of it is, this is very important, because when you're able to fully be in communication, connection with this presence, it gives you the natural frequency where you can discern through material. Earlier, I talked about, when some individuals, the material they share is compromised, and some that are not. For example, I really have to address this. One of my dear friends, one of our dear sisters, had just made a post about this thing with the Galactic Federation of Light. This person had left a note. I gotta share this. There are many individuals that are communicating so-called on behalf of the Galactic Federation of Light. However, they're total compromised individuals that are not in their vibration alignment. So the material they're bringing on the outside, it may seem good and whatever. However, they're total compromised individuals. There are at least 3 individuals that I know personally, that couldn't be more deceptive. They're not a pure channel. I have had interaction of pure darkness, like pure evil in action that I have seen through these individuals. And here they are, they're representing the Galactic Federation of Light, sharing their material. So what's interesting is sometimes you can't discern what material is. Like I would never ever share any of the material on my page because it's such a impure frequency and you can easily see through it. The key is when you are not overextending, your energy is for you, not for others, but truly for you, for the sole purpose of honoring your divine self, your higher self, your mighty great I am, your holy Christ itself. You are embracing the celebration of your truly the radiance of your magnificent. So as a result of it, you're not going to go just like let yourself be treated like a doormat or let anybody mistreat you, because there is a reverence you have for this presence that is here to do the higher work through. So as a result of it, you're not going to go overextend yourself either, because you recognize each individual has their own agreement and you must allow them their space for them to come to their own. No rescue whatsoever. This is all old templates that many of us light workers have had this default coming in. We have to literally, just like our phone, go in there, shut off that default, because it is part of disempowering us, not empowering us. You are here to serve and you do it boldly, but not from a place of your human limitation, from the full presence of your omnipresent, infinite beingness that is whole, that is expanded, and that comes to same thing. When you're not feeling well, you do not do. I've seen this over and over with individuals, healers. They don't feel good. They feel like crap. They're overextended. They're exhausted. They go into a session. That is the most disrespectful, dishonoring to yourself, to your team, to that individual that's coming to request healing. You could be the greatest healer. To me, that is such a negligent, because you're overextended. You are not the greatest instrument of divine. You need to take some time out and be honest enough telling them you could have bad sleep, no problem. You didn't get the rest. So you wake up, you're not feeling your best. How dare you then go still serve a client in the name, well, I set up a session the person needed. No, you're not the greatest instrument that moment. And it's time to catch yourself. Communicate with the authority. Look, out of respect and honor for your presence, I am not in my highest. I like to reschedule. This is what I've done for years. Mm-hmm. And if individuals totally respect, they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. How can I know if I'm off, I am not the truest instrument. And I know that. I would never, ever risk a client because my pockets are empty and I need the client's money. This is for also healers to catch yourself, turn that default off. You know what? I'm not feeling it. I'm going to go sit there, make sure I bring myself to the highest vibration, then I'll be of service. I feel it's time to really reshift some of these, take the higher responsibility as a reverence for ourselves, and no negligence anymore, and not taking risk on any client at all whatsoever. And to be able to go in as a true instrument in celebration of the light.
I firmly agree with that. It's definitely an important element to see where that alignment is within yourself and to check in with how you're serving and what you're serving, because we want to be the highest, fullest expression of
Exactly.
light in that, and it's amazing.
Because you're not doing the work
Right.
anyway.
It's coming.
But if you're not feeling well, so this ties to some of these
Yeah.
individuals that channel, or for
Yeah.
example, bring material. They're still living from their dark, and then
Yeah.
they're bringing this material. That's a total compromised material, with all due respect.
But I will say that I agree with that, but I will
But
also,
often, because the person, the
Right.
healer feels better, and the
But-
client might feel like crap.
yeah, but I've also experienced where a person, it's also our discernment of what is being brought forward, because I've also, and I agree wholeheartedly, but I also remember experience actually that brought us together was a healer that wasn't coming from our highest level of light, because within the channel or just in the information given, I could feel some of the things of the manipulation of, like, we have to see this program, well, this can help you, I can lead you here, I can lead you here. So that part I could see was going through a filter. But then the other part of the message that was coming through was the direct energy of, I would be meeting a shaman, I would be going to Mexico, I would be doing planetary healing. So I fully agree with you in that, and I feel it's ultimately the discernment of the individual
True.
that's receiving it, because it's not to say everything that's coming through is dark, is bad, is coming at you.
No, I know, but it's like,
but
to me, I don't.
I understand. But part of it, which I
would question that.
which you would question, and for some, if they can feel that discernment, can question it immediately, as I've done with channels that I've received from dear powerful people, where I could feel part of the channel was leading more of how I can serve you, versus part of the channel that was direct contact with the message coming through. So, and ultimately, we want to have the clearest vessel in the clearest light without being, attached to any different thing, because those attachments only bring us into our attachment of our earthly realm, and doesn't open the space in the clear conduit of light that wants to come through in our fullest expression of love and light. So I fully, wholeheartedly agree with that.
The point of this was, like, for example, with the Galactic Federation of Light, the Galactic Federation of Light is, wow, to the beings that are of service to that, and they're waiting for Earth to take her seat. Gaia take her seat on there. So there are these individuals that so loosely use the word Galactic Federation of Light, they can't even hold the energy. And then you can tell there's this guys communicating with them, trying to bring the material. The material is just all over the place, but it's not the way it is. So again, part of this has to do, because unfortunately, with many light workers, star seeds, bringers of light, they are so much more focused of service to others versus to taking care of themselves first, so they can be the greatest instrument. So they are not of the purest instrument. Fortunately, there are others too, and there are many of them that go from one substance to another substance to another substance. There is no integration, and they think as they open up, they're totally ungrounded, and they can't deliver the material in a very precise, pure lightning frequency. So as a result of it, it is what it is, but those are also have the purpose. My point is, for all of us here, it's so important, the personal accountability, the personal responsibility, the personal attention, the personal awareness, the personal access, accountability. These are all part of Ascension. These are all part of also our Christed light, to be able to allow the radiance of our sacred Ascension flame radiate properly. So it is maturity, and that's all it is. And for us not to overextend ourselves in any way, so we do not do harm, number one, harm to ourselves or anyone or anything, by the power of the frequency we have access to. The more you open up, the more power you're touching. And if you don't know how to handle your power, that's why our DNA was shut off after Atlantis, because we misused our power. We couldn't ground the energy well, and it fit other parts of ourselves, our lower selves, our lower mind. And you don't catch that in yourself, you're going to be walking disaster, and you're going to contribute to the fabrication, to the disheartening that you so came to dissolve and dismantle. So I just want to really put that out there, as well as 2021 is the true fifth dimensional frequency here for us in our sacred flame, like we are blossom rose, treating ourselves, each of us every day, as this magnificent rose that has a work through, and it cannot be neglected in any way.
I so believe that, and add to our personal responsibility to bring the highest level of Christed love, the highest level of Christed compassion, the highest level of what we can do to honor that day in and day out, because it is that love, it is that compassion, it is what I personally feel moving from thousands and thousands of years of where it's been so focused within the mind, in the intellect, and now we are in the heart. And into the heart, I feel that is the true source that we connect through our I Am presence, because that divine love is the divine source that every single fabric of the universe comes from. Not the lower love, human love, the divine love. And that divine love, I feel, is our test to be used in every single experience that is brought forward to us.
And the divine love is all part of us together as a collective to experience and bring it through. And it's powerful. It's not weak. It's not this gentle, soft. It's force. And it's got power of supreme. Everything is included in it. And we can only handle it when there is a reverence and there's a space within us of honor and integrity that comes in to be able to handle this that's been handed literally to us. So it ain't no child play here. It takes maturity and grounding it. And that's why we have circles. That's why we have gathering like this. So together we can harness it. Because as a group, we can harness it easier than individually. That's why it becomes so important we keep gathering and showing up, meeting each other from that lens and holding each other accountable from that place. Not judgment, accountable.
So for today, I feel like we're getting close to our ending right now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, it's running around the 2-hour time period.
Well, it's the beginning of the year, and it's celebration of my anniversary.
Yeah. So in honor of this sacred Christed Sophia 144
Golden Rose,
I would like to
Pink
honor
Ray.
the invocation to the golden pink ray now.
Mm.
So what I'd like all of you
love
guys to
this
do, if hopefully you're not driving, please don't do this, but if you're in a place where you are not focused outwardly for your own safety, just go ahead and close your eyes right now. Place your hands directly over your heart. And take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. Let's go ahead and take that. Felt really good. Let's take another deep breath in and deep breath out. And wholeheartedly hearing this sacred invocation to the golden pink ray.
So visualize the golden pink ray from the mighty I Am presence descending down in the vertical axis of light, completely filled inside your crystalline tube of light, filled with the golden pink ray of light, all the way down to earth. And it is just spiraling this magnificent golden pink frequency of light.
Thank you, love. Let me just put this right here so it keeps going. In the name of the victorious presence of God, I am. I call to the heart of beloved Serapis Bey and the brotherhood of the Ascension flame of Luxor, beloved Saint Germain, beloved Yeshua Sananda, beloved Sanat Kumara, and Lady Venus, 7 mighty Elohim, and 7 beloved archangels, and the 7 Chohans of the rays. I invoke the golden pink ray from the heart of God to enfold my 4 main body systems and all my other subtle bodies. And I say, golden pink light from the heart of God.
Golden pink light from the heart of God.
Infuse my form with thy dazzling golden pink radiance.
Infuse my form with thy dazzling pink, golden pink radiance.
Saturate me with golden pink light from above.
Saturate me with the golden pink light from above.
Saturate me with the pure white ascension flame.
Saturate me with the pure white ascension flame.
Raise me up to thy eternal glory.
Raise me up to thy eternal glory.
Resurrect my entire consciousness, being, and world.
Resurrect my entire consciousness, being, and world.
Illumine and charge me with the light of cosmic love.
Illumine and charge me with the light of the cosmic love.
For the victory of my ascension.
For the victory of my ascension.
And the victory of my eternal freedom in the light.
And for the victory of my eternal freedom into the light.
As I call this for myself.
As I call this for myself.
And for the earth.
And for the earth.
I call this for every man.
I call this for every man, woman, and child.
On this planet.
On this planet.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Beloved I am.
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 Beloved I am. And so it is. Shaya Mutaya Kumayati Saki. And in honor of this today, I felt guided for us to have one of the Magdalene Oracle cards to be pulled to see what is the message for our Friday tea time. This 8 energy, 8 plus 1 is 9 completion cycle as we move into this magnificent 2021 year, this 5th dimensional true consciousness, the true Christ light within all of us carrying the incredible Holy Christ itself. Let's see what is the message for us today from our beloved Mary Magdalene. Couldn't that be perfect? I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. At present, it seems that the harder you try, the more things you want elude you. There's not much you can do at the moment except wait. Surrender your expectations and be patient. In time, you will get what you want. through this may not come in the form or way which you expected. In the meantime, remember that you cannot control how others view things or what they think or say or do. In time, you will come to realize that the current events are a blessing. You will emerge that the current events are you will emerge from this period of your life with a newfound sense of clarity, which will enable you to move forward in life with confidence. The emotional ups and downs you're currently experiencing will soon stabilize. And so it is.
And so it is. Perfect message.
Couldn't be more.
Perfect message. Thank you, Mary.
Thank
Wow.
you,
Perfect
Maria
message.
Magdala.
Thank you. And thank all of you.
Thanks for the Marys that have incarnated. Thank you for all that are carrying the Maria consciousness, the Miriam of Magdala, the divine mother frequency that is called to all, whether you're in a male incarnation or female or trans or gay or lesbian, it does not matter. We are all expanding in the divine mother container so this frequency can come in the golden age of Aquarius.
I'd like to personally thank dear Sacred Honey, because sitting here today and watching her full celebration, her beautiful, magnificent love for this rebirth, this ability for her to shine every single thing that miraculously happened in such a short time frame. It's still mind-boggling to think all that happened within such a 4-minute times, and for just
my
to sit
heart
back,
had stopped.
to sit back and watch that joy, that celebration, that beauty, and most important, that love in this time was purely precious. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
And thank you for the rebirth. And thank each of you for being here for 2 hours and 6 minutes is maybe our longest. Happy New Year. We're blessed. We're grateful to each and every one of you here on our Ascension Alchemists YouTube page, and as well on, this is your page on Honey Boarding.
This is no actually an
This is
Ascension
Ascension?
Alchemist.
This is
It
an
was
Ascension
supposed to be on Instagram live, but I couldn't do it. So
thank you for all the
first
people
time
on
here.
Ascension
But
Alchemists.
all of you that are on Ascension Alchemists, please do join us on the YouTube channel, because we usually don't feature this here. We welcome you on our YouTube channel, Ascension Alchemists, so you can join us on our bi-weekly Friday tea time and all the other things we do on there. And I also would like to thank every single one of you that joined in the frequency of today. Still, it is very activating, the information that was shared in this 9-year anniversary of my rebirth, re-entering back into Earth with this vibration frequency. I couldn't be more grateful to celebrate with you today, to recognize each of you as a living Christ, as each of you the container with the Holy Christ itself, that is the crystalline being of light in its truest essence, carrying that diamond frequency that wants to radiate the plasma out of it. Each of you are exactly that already. Nothing you need to do, because you already are it. It is just the matter of you allowing your magnificence to be welcomed and allowed in free-flowing way. And I'm so grateful to journey with you, to walk with you as one. And I welcome all of you to join us, especially this year where we've taken it to another octave of light, of service, even more refined, even more honed in through the decrees to what needs to come in. And all of you are welcome. Please journey with us in this 144-day celebration. May 24th is the last day. Each day I do post what the day is dedicated to. Like today was I Am Awareness. So we're just in the 8th day, and you can go back and you can journey the next with us. And these are all the 144 qualities of the divine love that all of us in those petals of light are to radiate fully. And I thank each of you truly from my heart. May you have the full activity, consciousness, presence, and dedication to be exactly your magnificent self today and each day by giving yourself permission to be and not focus on anything and anyone else other than you, as the great you is here to radiate through you. And I thank you for allowing. As each of us allow, we are contributing part of this golden age to bring the goods through, to bring the heavenly realms through. And we can only do it when we are the presence and the embodiment of the radiance and not dim this light in any way by our action. Especially our attachments. May all attachments be dissolved so that the true essence can only be the embodiment that walks the walk of beauty on earth today. I love you all and thank you so much for celebrating with me.
Happy New Year.
You gave me the best celebration birthday gift today.
Thank you all. Thank you, honey. Thank you all for being here. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks from today.
For that, and Tuesday night for our global meditation at 7:30, where we focus on an issue.
And for those that are around here in the Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia area, I have one last session available this Sunday for the Divine Light Transformational Healing.
At Nourishing Journey in
Columbia. If anyone's interested, please contact me at abramson7@gmail or any of my social media accounts. As well, next Thursday, I am deeply, deeply grateful to have Paul Lufsenegger. It's a very challenging last name, but he's a very dynamic, incredible.
That's next Thursday.
That is next Thursday.
Oh, that's going to be. That's the first guest of your.
First guest of this year. Paul is a deeply blessed singer. His heart is of gold. He is an amazing individual that has just shined his light in so many ways. So I'm so grateful to have him on as my first guest in 2021. So tune in. Many beautiful, exciting events are on their way, and we are so grateful to share them with you.
And for those of you that joined late, if you do want to hear the full experience of what happened, please go to my YouTube channel at HoniB. I do have the 30-minute video of my full experience when I died and I was on the other side, so you can watch that. And also, if you have any specific question that I did miss today or you presented for Michael and I, please do send us at ascensionalchemists@gmail.com so that we can address it for you. And we thank you dearly and thank you so much again. Love you very deeply. Thank you.